Welcome Alphas, and congratulations on getting into AP Language and Composition. I know it's kind of an intense course, and I'm sure you've heard tons and tons about the teachers and the course load and the materials and all this effort you have to put into it, and the AP test that sounds so scary and so far away. But I need you to take a deep breath and calm down, because as you go, it really doesn't feel like it's that much. But I know there's one thing that is kind of intimidating that I'm sure you've done before in your other classes, and it's called a seminar. Now, seminars are a great tool of showing that you understand something and learning even more, because as much as your teachers can teach you something and you can read about it in a book, once you finally have a conversation with someone about it, that's where you really start to understand what's happening. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to have a successful seminar and kind of teach you about the rights and wrongs and the to-dos and the to-not-to-dos, because if you have a successful seminar, then you're going to go really far, especially in this class, because talking and understanding is the majority of it. Before we get into what you need for the seminar itself and what you should and shouldn't do, we have to talk about what goes on before the seminar happens. What you need to do is you need to take about a page of notes, because for every prompt that you'll have to deal with for a seminar, you're going to have to be a little bit prepared. On that piece of paper, what you want to write down are questions from the book, whether it's questions that you actually have about the text that you don't understand, or if it's a question that'll help further the discussion. The other thing that you're going to want is to write down either direct quotes or paraphrase notes, like directly from the passage, because when you're arguing something in a seminar, you want to have some backup. And the other thing you want to do is write down anything else that comes to mind while you're thinking about the question or rereading the book or anything like that, because when you write stuff down, it helps to store it in your brain so that when you're talking in the seminar with other people, it kind of comes quickly to you because it's something that you've already seen and read and written down before. What the seminar looks like is there's the inner circle and the outer circle. On the inner circle is everyone actively participating in the seminar, and they're the ones that are going to be talking the whole time. And then there's also a hot seat. And what that hot seat is used for is so that anyone on the outside of the circle can jump in at any point in time and share a few sentences or ask a question or help further the discussion in another way, and then get on out so that someone else has a chance to get into the seminar as well. Alright, the do's and don'ts. Don't bash other people's ideas, because it doesn't show that you're the smartest in the group or the best at understanding the book or anything like that. It kind of makes you look like a jerk. So don't just bash each other's ideas. What you do want to do is respectfully disagree. That's really important, that you can respectfully disagree with somebody. Don't keep good ideas to yourself, because even if you feel like it's not something worth sharing, it might be something that no one else has thought before, and that's something that can really contribute to a good understanding of what you're reading. Don't freak out. A seminar isn't where you're presenting all these ideas to somebody, or you have to give up and give a speech or anything. You're just having a conversation. And once you get into the seminar, it might not feel like you're just having a conversation, but ultimately, that's what you're doing. You're just having a nice, good book club chat about, I don't know, Catcher in the Rye or In Cold Blood or something like that. And the more and more you start talking, the more and more it'll feel less professional and more social. Do prepare ahead of time, because I know sometimes you really don't feel like writing notes, you think you know what you're going to say, all that stuff. But what I really urge you to do is to prepare at least something, that you at least read the question, that you write some stuff down, that you get your brain flowing and your thoughts going so that you at least know a little bit about what you're doing. Because ultimately, it's the prepared people that are the most ready to absorb. Don't fear the hot seat. It might seem kind of intimidating when no one else is getting up, and then the inner circle kind of gets over quiet and you don't really know if you should get in or not. Ultimately, just go for it. Because one, it shows that you're actively listening on the outside, and that looks really good to Mr. Catapano. And two, then you're part of it as well, because it gets super boring sitting on the outside. At least I think it does. It gets super, super boring. So once you stand up and you put yourself in there, then you're actively engaged in the conversation. Do pay attention on the outside, Saying, no, it's so tempting to go on Twitter. It's so tempting to check out. It's so tempting to study for other classes. But ultimately, you're going to do far better in all the essays you have to write and everything else you have to participate in from the book if you just bear with it and pay attention for that seminar. Because when you're paying attention to what everyone else is saying, you're getting smarter yourself. You're the one that's going to be growing individually. And who knows? You might find something in the book that you never saw before that actually impacts you in a pretty cool way. So all in all, keep this kind of stuff in mind when you go into the seminar. That it's just a conversation you're having with a small group that other people happen to be listening in on. It's nothing to fear, it's nothing scary, and the reason we have these seminars is because it's going to help you out in the long run to understand the books, because your classmates are pretty smart people and you're a pretty smart person too. So when a bunch of smart people get together in a room and they just talk about a book, pretty cool stuff happens in there, and a lot of good thoughts are shared. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the hot seat. Don't be afraid of the fishbowl setting that it feels like you're just talking and everyone else is looking in on you. Just do your thing. Talk. Bye, Alphas.